Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hello.
Hello, salutations.
Solitude and salutations from
Highly uncircumcised. Oh my goodness.
Should we, Jinx? Should we introduce ourselves? We never do. Do you think that where I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm Nicole and this is Michael? Like we did like the very first one, but since then we're just like, yeah, you know us. You know who we are.
You know who I am. You know me. You know me.
Michael, you have to tell them this because if you have not seen, I think it's episode 6. It was a bonus episode of the first week. And
you gotta set up the context for how the episode even came about. And I'm not talking about the thing at your house. Yes. Okay.
So this episode, if you haven't seen it, just go back and watch it. But the fun thing about this episode, in hindsight, is that on this day we were recording. And we recorded 2 episodes back to back, about an hour and 20 minutes.
Great.
I mean, we were talking an hour and 20 minutes, but I think the episodes were like 30 minutes each, right? And when we were done, it had turned out that we had not recorded them. So
I love how you use the word we.
Yeah. Okay. Are we not a team?
We are a team.
You could have pressed record. Did you press record?
You had to give me permission.
Did you press record?
I mean, I probably thought I did.
Exactly.
So okay, we did not press record.
We did not press record. And so we did not have 2 episodes. And I get bummed about life, or more like I get stuck in life and I just kind of like spin my wheels and I'm in my head. Mike gets like bummed. Like, so he was sitting on his couch eating popcorn. He wouldn't talk to me. I'm like, let's just do another episode. And
I was just like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I just talked to you for 2.5 hours. It was awesome
2.5.
It was long. I was like, these podcasts were long, dude.
And they were good.
I was so spent.
So anyways, this conversation that I had with him, I actually recorded because I was trying to get him to just get up and do another episode. And he's sitting on his couch eating popcorn and we're talking and I'm like, come on, it's gone. There's nothing we can do. But he's all depressed and he's like, you know what I need to tell everybody about? It's like when you farted. So the episode ends up being about me farting. You're welcome. Go back and watch it. It's the number 6.
Go watch it, please.
And then, but what did you say today? Just now, what did you say?
I said I feel like I'm gonna have to fart in front of you so that we can equal out all this.
I think you do need to.
Because first of all, I think at that point when you farted in front of me, it was probably 6 months ago, something like that. I don't know. It was during the pandemic.
A while ago.
And I honestly thought you and I were pretty much at the pinnacle of a loving platonic friendship. And you farted in front of me, and I had so many different emotions. I was overcome because I was like, this is the most disgusting shit I've ever smelled in my life. It smelled like coffee and poop. Watch the episode. I described exactly.
Yeah, don't tell him again. We already talked about my fart enough. We're supposed to talk about your fart.
Listen, it was loud. And I was just like, that just happened. Like Nicole just like shifted all her internal organs and farted.
Okay.
But listen. So then my next emotion was, oh my God, I feel so close to her right now. Like, we must be best friends. Best friend, because I was like, you weren't even embarrassed. You just fell out laughing. Your face turned as red as that little hair thing you got on right now. You were laughing. And guess what we were talking about? We were talking about doing the podcast.
Right.
And you just let it go. And so now I'm just like, especially as many times as you have now told me that you watched the fart episode.
I love watching the fart episode. It is so embarrassing about me, but I love watching it. I don't know. I'm like a masochist, I guess. I guess. Like, I love it.
You now have me feeling like I just have to let one go.
You're just like sneak one out.
No, there's no sneak. There's no sneak. There's no sneak in it. It's going to just have to be like push, squeeze, turn.
House, just like squeezing. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Nothing.
like kids, like you ever have a 2-year-old and they're like in the corner pooping in their diaper? You're like, are you going poop? No, I don't know. They always say no. I don't know why they always say no, but they're like, clearly you're pooping. You're clearly pooping in your diaper right now.
At 43, I'm just scared that if I try that hard, it might come with others.
So anyway, stay tuned for the episode about when Michael farts in movie.
You're gonna be like, the friendship is over. It's a wrap. We can't go anywhere from here. We cannot go anywhere from here.
Yeah, how do you go higher than that? How do you get any closer than that?
I literally just started sweating when we started talking about me potentially letting one go. I don't think I've ever farted unintentionally in front of anybody. So,
I look forward to that episode. It's gonna be good times.
Yeah, I guess.
Ooh, so then we can make fun of you for a little while.
Yeah, no, you're you own that crown right now. I'm gonna let you own that for a minute.
Well, and the crazy thing is that is as we're taping this one, that episode has not been released yet.
Exactly.
So we don't even know what the response is gonna be. Like, I don't know if the world's ready for all that.
I don't know if they're ready. I don't know if they're ready. I'm not sure. You got to get emotionally prepared for that one. Jeez.
But it is funny. I do love it. So anyways, we're going to talk about cancel culture, right? That's what Michael wanted to talk about today.
Oh, we're just going right into this.
Yeah, we're just going to go right into it. Like right from the farts to the cancel culture. I mean, it's a good segue.
It just got all deep. So I actually wrote this down because I didn't want to forget about this. So let me just open my notes real quick because there was a couple reasons why I wanted to talk about cancel culture. Oh, okay.
So well, I have a lot of reasons, but I mean, and I think we should say this for our viewers and listeners is that we don't, up to this point, we've never even gotten on here and had ideas of what our topic's going to be, let alone
what
totally we're going to say. Yes. So actually, this is the first time where Mike's like had notes and had, so like stuff that we say, we may, I mean, I was thinking like right now, when you say cancel culture, it's like, God, I have so many things in my head, but I can imagine that like after this conversation, I would think more and like, we could have more to say next week, like I think that's the thing too about like deep discussions is that you have deep discussions and you feel certain ways and then you can think about different viewpoints and different things later on and come back around to it. And I think this is probably a topic that would be a good one to come back around to again because it is a thing, like a big thing, I think right now. And it disturbs me.
So as you know, I'm not huge into social media at all. Like, I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook.
Yeah, me too.
I think that's it. But I very rarely post and almost never really respond to other people's posts, whatever. So I say that to say like the whole cancel culture issue to me seems like it sort of was born in social media and maybe, went out from there or whatever. So it never really, I'm saying that because it never really like was a big deal to me. I just never really even thought about it. Like cancel, who am I canceling? Like, I don't give a damn. If somebody says something, they say it. And you have the right to be offended by it or whatever the case may be. But I heard this on a radio program that I listened to this morning.
Okay.
So Disneyland has now revamped the Snow White ride because Prince Charming kisses Snow White without consent in the story of Snow White, right? Mm-hmm. So Prince Charming is now like hijacking kisses as opposed to if I remember this correctly, and by the way, I haven't read or heard about the Snow White story probably since I was like 5 or 6 years old or something. But wasn't she dying on a table or something, and he kissed her to like wake her up?
Yeah, she was basically dead. I mean, she's breathing, but she's comatose, and she can only awake, if I remember this right, with true love's kiss.
So the guy is kissing the girl.
Me in the back. Okay, I have to say that they're really quick because when she's like, so when the guy was kissing the girl, he sounded like Bill Cosby for a second. I mean, this is very serious, but I had to point that out.
Hold on, let me get my Jello pudding pop over here.
The guy was kissing the girl. Okay, carry on.
This show is so ridiculous. Listen.
Okay, yes.
The guy's kissing the girl because the girl.
You hear it now, right? You hear it? Oh.
Nah.
Yeah,
Listen.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
The guy's kissing the girl.
Yes.
Because the girl needs the kiss to live.
Yes. But now
they're not at a party, and Prince Charming just thinks he's the man and comes up to kiss her while she's just dancing or talking to her girls. He kisses her because she's dying. And the thought is, if I kiss her, she won't die. I just want to make sure I have that right.
And moreover, she's comatose. She cannot nor give nor not give consent.
Consent, exactly. So,
but it's canceled. Cancel that movie. Cancel that movie.
Disneyland is taking all references to Prince Charming out of the Snow White ride at Disneyland because he kissed someone to save their life. I just want to shut my computer right now and honestly just get in my car and just drive.
There are so many examples of that, and for people who are like, oh yeah, they have to give consent. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, do I understand that a lot of Disney movies were all about like, oh, helpless woman and need a man to be happy? Yes, they were also made how many years ago? It's changing. They were things that were made. Why now are we going to try and cancel our history? Like, this happened, and now we learn from it.
So check this out. So I wrote down one more example because I just didn't want to forget these, knowing that I was going to bring this up to you today. So Pepe Le Pew, you know, the skunk.
I hate that name because my maiden name is Pepe.
Pepe, yeah.
And so when I grew up, they always called me Pepe Le Pew, and I was really upset. Actually, I pretended like I wasn't. I was like, mm-hmm. But of course, I went home. And I'm very upset.
Oh my God, relax, please.
All right.
Okay, all right. Pepe Le Pew was taken out of the new Space Jam movie, right? Space Jam 2. I don't know if you're aware of that. LeBron James is, you know about the original Space Jam, right? Michael Jordan Space Jam.
Yeah, I don't remember if I watched it, but I know about it.
Okay, but just know that there's a part 2 coming out. I don't know when it's coming out soon. Okay. And LeBron is the main character this time. Anyway, Pepe Le Pew, who I guess is a Warner Brothers animated character, was taken out of the movie because he promotes rape culture.
What? Wait, what? He's a skunk. So wait, just in case people don't know, that Pepe Le Pew is a skunk. He's a cartoon.
A cartoon skunk.
Not even a real skunk, a cartoon skunk.
Well, just like Prince Charming was a cartoon. Yeah.
Right. Cartoon dude.
Not a real person.
Yeah.
Unless you were talking about me or something. But anyway, yeah. I had to, anyway. Wake up. The cartoon character was taken out of the movie because he promotes rape culture, because he basically goes and he hijacks kisses from, I think, like Bugs Bunny, the female version of Bugs Bunny, whatever her name is, I can't remember. But listen, I have 2 daughters, okay? One is 16, one is 12. Okay. And you know, obviously I have a wife and I have a mom and I have, you know, sisters-in-laws and all that good stuff. I have very strong female forces in my life that I would never want to see hurt, obviously raped, any of that stuff. But like, are we going a bit far here with the politically correct?
You want the simple answer?
No. Before you answer that, I'm now going to ask you a question that I want you.
Okay.
That question was more.
The answer was yes, by the way.
I realize that, but
okay.
Anyway, do you think a show like In Living Color could get made today?
No.
And that show was like one of
that was my favorite show
ever, right? I mean, it was literally like one of the funniest shows that has ever come out ever. That show was funny.
Homie, don't play that.
My favorite actually was Fire Marshal Bill.
What you talking about? Let me show you something. That's Bill. What's his name? Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey came up there. Jennifer Lopez, the Wayans brothers.
Everybody. Well, my question is, do you think that show could get made today?
No, because everybody wants to be offended by something. Everybody wants to be scared, stressed out, afraid, and offended. And everybody wants everybody else to change because they don't understand the basic premise that we've been talking about, you and I have been talking about even just on this podcast since day one, is that everybody is born differently with their own thoughts and ideas and beliefs about life. And they believe they're just as right as you think you are in your thoughts and ideas and beliefs. Can it be possible that somehow all these people who are very, very different live in the same world and you can't force them to be like you? You have to just accept, like, we are all different and that is okay. But I think where it comes from, you're saying, like, is social media making it worse? I think it might be. I think, you talk about the algorithms and how, like, when you get on social media, the algorithms do their work to basically show you more and more things that agree with what you think, right? More people that think the same thing as you do, more ads that agree, right? And so soon enough, when you're invested all this time in social media, you kind of think your own world is like, yes, these people, we all think this and we all do this and we all believe this way. And that's the way the world is. And then you come up against something that is not that way. And now you're immediately offended and disgusted and like, how can this be? This is not, we change this. And like, there are almost 8 billion people in the world. How is it possible that we're all going to be the same? And why would you even want to live in a world like that? That's just ridiculous. And why do you spend your time being offended by what's just fucking turn it off and walk away? That's like, instead of spending like, how many people and who were they that went to Disney and was like, you got to shut down this Snow White because that shit is just harmful. That is harmful. Like, what?
I would actually just want to talk to that person and find out, like, why does that bother you so much? And by the way, all Disney is doing, from what I understand, is literally just like painting over any reference to Prince Charming and Snow White on this Snow White ride. So,
but it had to be a big coalition of people to be up.
But who are these people?
Exactly.
I'm asking you, who are they?
You can ask that same question, and a lot of people did when Trump won. Now, mind you, I'm not necessarily against Trump. I'm just saying that a lot of people, especially in California, very liberal, and so when he won, even up till the moment he almost won, it looked like he wasn't going to, right? And when he did win, what were we all saying? Like, who are these people that voted for him? Well, over half of our country.
But I'm gonna tell you that to me, and maybe we can just make that the next podcast, but I'm just gonna speak to it right here because you've said something. Trump, that's a whole different thing to me, because Trump did certainly say some things that were just like beyond the pale offensive, from everything from
you,
Mexicans
but
that
that's the
came
whole
here.
point.
But no, but listen, no, but saying stuff like Mexicans that came here were rapists and criminals, to grabbing pussies of women because he could, you know, I mean, that to me is like, okay, I get you being offended at that. And by the way, I'm not necessarily offended by that because I'm not Mexican and I'm not a woman, right? But just as a human being, I'm like, that is just beyond the pale. Like, how you can't say anything. I'm not saying that.
Listen,
I think cancel culture is stupid, but
I think
it doesn't
even
mean you
with
can
that,
say anything.
it goes to even with that though. I think, and that's the whole point, is that I believe that everybody has a right to their own beliefs and their own opinion. I believe that 100%. Okay, great. But I also believe you don't have a right to enforce that belief or opinion on other people. And I think that's
what do you mean?
Disconnect.
You mean you don't have the right to,
that you don't have the right to go and say, oh, well, you got to cancel this because I'm now offended, right? Now you have the right to be offended if you want to be offended. If you want to waste your time being offended about something that happened in life, go ahead. Waste your time being stressed out and offended by it. But you do not have the right to go and enforce that belief or opinion on somebody else. That's my, and if we all could think that way in life, we'd get along much better. Like it just doesn't even make sense to me. Like, and it even does go with, it really even does. Like you can be offended, but like people were out doing some mean shit. I mean, they were offended by what he's saying, but then they were saying, well, I don't care if he dies. I hope he dies with COVID. And like, okay, so on one hand, you're saying, you know, you're offended by the things that this man's doing, but on the other hand, you think it's okay. So again, it's like,
that's not right either. I don't support either one, because I honestly don't subscribe to wishing death on anyone at all. But I will say this. So long before Donald Trump even ran for office or was even considering running for office, I was an Apprentice fan. The show The Apprentice, you're fired. You know, you're aware of The Apprentice, right? I know we don't watch a lot of TV. But anyway, I love that show. Me and Esther love that show. We would wait every Thursday to see The Apprentice. Watch it as, you know, a couple, be like date night or something. I stopped watching The Apprentice because Donald Trump had said, I think he was talking about I remember what it was now. It was because he started the whole Barack Obama being born in Kenya thing, the birther movement. And I know actually that I think that, in all fairness to Donald Trump, I believe that started with actually Hillary Clinton. But Donald Trump took the ball and just ran with it. You know, Barack is not an American. He's not even an American. He's born in Kenya and this and that. I was so personally offended by that, him talking about the first viable, realistic, probable Black person to run for, or having a chance to be the president of the United States. I was just so offended by that. I stopped watching The Apprentice. I didn't get on Facebook or Instagram or anything else and tell people, hey, Donald Trump sucks or anything like that. I took a personal stance and did a personal, I did what was comfortable for Michael Moore.
Yes, you turned off the television.
I turned off the television. I'm like, I cannot support a man. I cannot support a show, even though I love the show. I could not support a show that the star was someone who would just come up with this complete and total bullshit about the first potential Black president of the United States. So I'm saying that to say, like, I feel like the cancel culture should be an individual thing. If you want to cancel somebody, cancel them from your life.
Yes, exactly.
But like,
it's so simple, but it's so hard.
Why am I not able to watch Gone with the Wind, right? Because there's all these references that are so out of date now. By the way, I think the movie was done in the 30s or 40s. So clearly it's not going to be the same as 2021. And I'm not even saying like, you know, I'm behind the movie or I support the movie or anything like that, but I am like,
it was a book that was written.
If I want to watch the movie, I should be able to find the freaking movie somewhere to watch it, right? As long as something is legal, right? Or it's not just crazy outside of moral boundaries, meaning like, I don't think child porn should be available. Okay.
Well, no, because they're not consenting. These children aren't consenting.
Exactly.
So
it's highly illegal and it's highly
yes.
immoral. So
Yeah.
people shouldn't just have a right to watch child porn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to watch a movie like Gone with the Wind,
everybody consented, legally made the movie. The story was written. Yes, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, there's just so many nonstop examples of, and this doesn't mean that we don't support. I support a person to be whoever they want to be. We just had the last episode was about, what's your story, and then fucking live it. Find out what your story is and live it. But don't enforce your story, your thoughts, your opinions, your beliefs on the rest of the world and force them to have to live the way that you live or to believe what you do, because that's where we're coming up in all these issues. Even like what Joe Rogan, he got a deal with Spotify for his podcast this year. So now he's working, for a corporation. I don't know if he's working for, but within a corporation. And there were employees at that company who were maybe LBQT something. I don't know what all the things are, but and again, it just doesn't mean to do any person a disservice. Be whoever you are. I hope so. I hope everybody finds out who they are and then lives it. But they were offended by some of his episodes and said, if he works here, then we're not going to work here. And I think that's just so ridiculous. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like you cannot go around canceling hate. Like you can't go around thinking, well, somebody is upset at me. So I'm just going to cancel. Like that's not the way life works. And that's not the way we're going to grow through it.
So I don't know if that's the best, excuse me. I don't know if that's the best example, and I'll tell you why. Because if that's how it really went, and I'm honestly not even aware of that situation, but I'm just going off of what you just said. If that's how that situation really went, then I feel like those people are doing exactly what I did with The Apprentice, which is I couldn't get them to take The Apprentice off the air.
No, they're not doing.
Just like those people can't get Joe Rogan to not take the deal with Spotify, they quit. So they did what they had to do for themselves. No, they didn't quit.
They went to their boss and told him that it's either Joe or him, or they're going to quit if they don't get rid of Joe.
Went? Was it Joe or them?
No, them.
They went, right?
Yeah, they didn't quit. So see,
They shot their shot and it didn't work.
And not only that, but like there's just so many. There's like a movie. It was going to be a transgender movie played by Scarlett Johansson, but the transgender movement got up in arms that they weren't having a transgender person playing the main character. It's like, again, I feel like you're doing yourself such a disservice, because Scarlett Johansson, mind you, like this is just the way that industry works. She's a big star. And so wouldn't you want her to make this movie to put an enormous light on your industry, on your, what do you call, gender something roles, whatever.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
But instead, now she opted out of the movie because there was so much outrage, and the producers are not going to make a movie with nobody. There's no yet transgender big name to make this movie, so she just opted out and said, "Okay, I'm not going to do it." So they never made the movie. Then I'm like, if you allow her to make that movie, shed light on the entire subject. Now, how many transgender roles will there be for actors in the future? It's like, I understand where it's coming from, but I feel like we're taking a step backwards instead of forwards.
So I have to be honest with you, and this is certainly, Mike's highly uncircumcised take on this. I can go either way on that topic, and I'll tell you why. Because what if they had Brad Pitt playing Martin Luther King? Like I would be so.
So don't watch it.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, you're right. Yeah, I wouldn't watch it for sure. Mm-hmm. But I mean,
again, why can we not make our own personal choice for our lives? Instead, we're inflicting our personal choice on others and enforcing that they believe the same thing. Like let everyone live their life, assuming one thing, that you're doing no harm to others, right? Like let them live their lives and you live yours. And we're all. It all goes back to our own personal individual self-development. Like once you are comfortable with who you are and what you're capable of and what you're, just live it. Don't stress out about what they're doing. They're doing something that you don't like. Don't fucking watch it. Don't fucking get involved. Don't worry about it. But why be up in arms about that? I don't get it.
Yes, I am listening to you on this particular topic.
Again, like I said, okay, so I said in the very beginning, I think this is a topic we're gonna have to come around again, because see how you're thinking right now, and I'm thinking too. And again, I was just saying all this off the cuff. So
well, I'm just putting myself in the transgender shoes, and I'm just making their shoes black shoes, right? Because I can identify with being black, and how I personally would be like, you know, not only did they not get a great black actor to play Martin Luther King, but they put a white dude in the role, you know. So
let them do it and let the movie bomb. Whatever. Like, what do you know? Like, what purpose does it serve to cancel the movie? You know what I mean? Like in what way is that helping anything? I just don't understand it. Like I have come up against adversity in my own life, like being a female in a highly male dominated field. I mean, women are probably not even 3% of poker players, right? And in the beginning, there were issues, but mostly because I allowed it, like in my mind. I allowed, to take something as an offense where it could have not been, to make assumptions about how people were acting where it could have just been in my head. And I say this because by the end, I mean, the last decade of playing out of 17 years, I don't recall having one negative thought about me being a woman in a male dominated industry. One feeling of disrespect, one feeling like I just felt like we're all just dudes. I think it's because I did the work to understand, like, we can sit in this space and we can sit and we can cry and complain and expect that others have to change to who we are. Or we can just know who we are and just live it and just start not taking so much offense at everything and start just like, oh, okay. Like, let me just live my life. Oh, I didn't like what that person did. Okay. I'm not going to talk to him. Like
well, I personally think that being offended is not a choice.
Oh, it is a choice. I think you're wrong. I think it's 100% a choice.
I don't, because I feel like whenever I've been offended, and I can't even really think of anything right now that has offended me in recent times, but I'll give you an example. Something just came to mind. So literally 20 years ago, when I first started out in the computer industry, I worked for a certain place, which shall remain nameless, and an older white gentleman at the time, I was literally early 20s, and he probably at that time was in his late 40s, early 50s. We got on an elevator together to go to another floor in the building. And he said to me, he was like, man, if I didn't know you and I got on this elevator with a big black guy like you, I'd be so scared. And I'm like a 20-year-old guy. And I was like, oh, I kind of probably just like laughed it off, like, oh, okay. And then as I'm getting further and further away from the situation, I'm thinking like, God, that was like, why? You just be scared because I'm larger than you and because I'm black. And now remember, at that time, I'm much younger than I am now. So if someone said that to me today, my response would probably be a little quicker, like, well, that's your problem. I might say something like that, or I might just be like, well, that's sad for you that you see people like that. But back then,
you wouldn't be offended because you chose now.
I probably would not be offended today as much as I'd be like, God, what an asshole he is, or how stupid he is. Like, that's dumb. But back then, I certainly was like, I felt offense. And that goes to my point. I didn't make a choice to be offended. I just replayed it in my mind, and I was like, wow, that's offensive. Like,
But again, I think, and so this can be another debate, and we'll wrap this up here shortly, because I think we're going to have to come back around to this for sure.
Definitely going to have to come back around.
But I think it is a choice. I think sometimes we don't even realize our choices because we make them over and over, or even state of minds or emotional feelings. They become habits because we do them so much, but we've chosen at some point. We can all not be offended. Like, we can choose to not be offended. I believe that 100%. Can choose to not be offended by anything. Like, and there's people that are fucking Zen masters who just like, oh, I'm just like water, like we just don't. So to say that we can't choose, that we 100% can. And that's where the work is. I think, it's a lot of work. And I think that's what we have to do.
Be like water.
Be like water.
Bruce Lee said that.
Half of me is ocean, half of me is sky. I'm gonna get that on a tattoo because that's my favorite line from a song. It's from a Tom Petty song, but apparently Johnny Cash wrote it for him. And the Lumineers actually redo the song, and it's really good. But I love that. Like, just be the ocean, be the sky. Like, just be. Stop being so offended.
I kind of feel like that's probably the last word on this for now.
We'll see you next time.
Highly uncircumcised.